How much questions will be
Okay,
there?
that is for 25, right? You see here
Number
maximum
of
mark
questions, sir.
25. Question means MCQ. This is MCQ means each question carrying 1 mark, 25 mark. It's clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So MCQ pattern for so the each questions are carrying one mark. Okay, totally 25 mark. The MCQ. Only 1 hour examination, weightage for 7.5. Okay, the university exam. So here start from 16th means what about 16th means day order 3. I thought. 1 second, I will check. Please, you also check your calendar. Today
Yes, sir.
date is 12th. Yeah, yeah. Now day order 5, day order 1 tomorrow, Wednesday day order 2, day order 3, Thursday day order 4, Friday. Okay. So next Monday day order 5. So next say day order 5, day order 5, 10:50 to 12:30 exam. Okay. So 10:50 to 1 hour examination per day order 5 next Monday. Next Monday means the date is 19th July. Okay, student. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Student? Yeah. So please anyone inform to your group. So the exam start from exam start from for model examination as per academia given for 16th July. Okay, 16th July. But our examination conducted regular class as per the schedule for our lab session. You see here 19th day order 5. So 19th day order 5 means 10:50 our exam. Okay. So the pattern here also what about MCQ Google form we are conducting through GCR mode, maximum mark 25, the weightage also 7.5. Okay. So only for this is practical. So theory I don't know, maybe inform later. See maybe court and are conducting for the examination. But the university practical examination start from 6th August. Okay, 6th August. But the question pattern for this is my personal, but I will share whatever you should prepare the uh, pattern like MCQ, right? The 8 experiment thoroughly prepared. So the question bank only sent to my course coordinator. Okay, maximum mark 50. The durations are 90 minutes, so 2 hours examination. Weightage is 25. Student, the practical, any doubt for university, both model examination, anything else, please inform.
No, sir.
Yeah, please note that. CLA3 shall be conducted in the regular day order and practical hours. So our exam, our schedule scheduled on 19th July. 19th July, day order 5. So the model examination conducting from 10:50. Okay, 1 hour examination. Okay, so please noted. So as per academia given for university, sorry, model exam, theory started from what commencement of cycle test 3, 27th July. Okay, students.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please note that maybe the Dean CET informed to this weekend or this weekend maybe now, yeah, 12th, right? Maybe before 15th, maybe informed to all the faculty member and the students for university, sorry, model exam timetable, theory. CR, please take care and inform to or texted your group. The model exam practical scheduled on 19th July, day order 5 and 10:50. 10:50 to what about timing? 10:50 to 11:40 your exam. Okay. See, please, I request to everyone. Already I given for the 4 experiment submission. I almost submitted. 2 or 3 students not submitted for CLA 1 portion. For CLA 2 also practical, recording practical. CLA 2 mostly all are submitted. CLA 1 many students also not submitted. Please, you should check your portal. Any incompletion activity, please kindly submit. Otherwise, I can't consider for your activity. Okay. So once model exam practical completed means automatically I going to enter for CLA 4. Okay, CLA 4, I given to your assignment. The late submission definitely I reduce the mark. Okay, please take care and submit the as per given date. See, theory class we are engaged the for assignment activity already I given. Many students requested for the organic chemistry PPT notes, PPT converted to PDF file and posted our Google class, okay, Google classroom. Please check. Further, if anything, any material if you want, please tell me. Again, I will send it for our group. Okay, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The attendance I take from only for participate list. Okay, yes, many students also once join the class after given the attendance and disconnected without my knowledge. Please take care only for one, only one lab session there. Next week directly we are going to appear for the examination after no classes. Okay. So theory also mostly 25th July. After 25th no class. Please take a student, maintain the attendance. Please don't cheat for me. Because a lot of issue also we are facing from my department because the faculty no one care of the student because many student also disconnected during the class only given the attendance. Okay. So please take care and help them. Last minutes also don't misbehave for any faculty member. Please take care. Next, anything else for practical and theory? Nothing, right?
Sir, when is the seminar?
Seminar, because theory class, afternoon there, right? Afternoon theory class. Afternoon theory. Tomorrow having 9 to for 10, 9 to 2 hours, first 2 hours, right? 10:40. Only three questions I given. This is your share, your file, just explain. This is enough, okay? Because you only for individually find out the answer.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was asking the date. Sir, today or tomorrow?
No, today Aditya. Today what about register number?
Okay,
I
sir.
don't. Yeah, today annuals started, right? There's just whatever. No need to separately time. Don't spend. Just already you written. Just you read out to what is this significance of this spectroscopy. What
Yeah,
about
sir.
the basic principle of rotational spectra? Just you only find the answer. Just you explain. Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah. Because other sections also I given all the students also taking seminar. Many students also interesting voluntarily asking, sir, I want to take this topic, sir. Please give me. I given just to your side, your wish. So many students only for 3 questions, right? 3 questions also very simple, sir. I want to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes for 1 hour PPT. Many students also requested for I2 section, but no need because next week also going to prepare for model examination. Student, please aware to all the student. I request to all the student. And the model examination started. No timing because very bulk unit for 1 to 5 units, right? So very difficult to prepare for the all the 5 model. Please prepare well and take care. Studied for already CLA 1, CLA 2 completed. Okay. So revised again. You revised for the all the model 4 and 5. I thought we are covered and important topic also I shared. Okay. Please prepare well. Okay. So today, yeah. So the Start from Atul to first 10 to 15 member prepared for the seminar afternoon session. Atul, Fazin, Adnan, Panindra, Abhinav, Puridevi, Nikhil, Virunda, Johnvi, and Ravi Kishore. Okay, already given for the first group. First group, first 10 member. I thought she's take care of this question. Virunda or Johnvi? Hello? Virunda?
Yes, sir.
Just you collect all the response, right? You only collect
Yes,
or
sir.
Janvi?
So I collect.
Yeah. The file is available in the file.
So
No, all the response available for you, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So what about the status? All are written, handwritten, or only for the Word document created and pasted? I didn't
So
check for the response. Hello?
almost many have hand submitted. Handwritten.
Handwritten.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought handwritten means suppose any mistake means we can't edit it. Otherwise, the maybe the image file also we are paste it. Okay, no problem. We will discuss later on. Okay. Practical anything else? I want to play any video for experiment because now 12:30 still 12:30 we are engaged the class. Any experiment, hardness experiment?
So you told you will show it, but the video sound was not coming.
That last time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now also because the VLC media player some installation problem, I will share now once again. Volumes audible, please students, anyone?
No, sir.
No, okay. One second. Yes, I remove my headphone.
No, it's
Now it's
audible little
audible,
bit.
right? Yeah.
Used for this experiment is standard hot water, sample water, boiled water, and then EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, and then ammonia, ammonium chloride buffer. Buffer is used to maintain the pH of the solution, and then indicator Eriochrome black P is an azure dye. Let us see the principle of the experiments. So mainly hardness is due to the presence of calcium and magnesium ions. So the calcium and magnesium ions present in the given solution forms an unstable wine red color complex when it is treated with an Eriochrome black T indicator in presence of an ammonical buffer. So the metal ions forms wine red unstable complex MEBT. Okay. Then the addition of EDTA, when it is titrated with EDTA, it forms a stable colorless complex. Okay, that is MEDTA complex. After complete complex formation, all the free metal ions are completely forms a stable colorless complex. Then further addition of EDTA replaces the EDT from MEDT complex. Okay. So this EBT is set free now. So EBT in this particular pH 9 to 10 displays steel blue in color. So the color changes from wine red to steel blue indicates the endpoint. Now let us see the procedure. In order to estimate the hardness of the given water sample, we need to carry 3 sets of titration. Titration 1 is standardization of EBTA. For the standardization, we have to use the standard hot water versus EDTA solution, and then titration 2 estimation of hardness. For that, we are using sample hot water versus EDTA, and the third titration is estimation of permanent hardness. For this, the titration is boiled water versus EDTA. Let us see one by one. First, we have to standardize the given EDTA solution. We put up 20 ml of standard hot water into a clean conical flask. So I have already put out. Now, add 5 ml of ammonical buffer, that is ammonia, ammonium chloride buffer. So buffer is used to maintain the pH of the solution. And 2 to 3 drops of Eriochrome black P indicator. While adding indicator, the solution immediately turns into pink color, wine red color. So this wine red color indicates the formation of an unstable complex. So that this titration is said to be complexometric. So this is the formation of wine red colored complex. So that is said to be complexometric titration. Now titrate against EDTA, which is taken in the urets. Once again I am repeating, we put out 20 ml of the standard hot water and then add 5 ml of ammonical buffer and add 2 to 3 drops of indicator, Eriochrome black T indicator. Immediately it turns into wine red color. This is nothing but MEBT. So metal ions forms an unstable complex, wine red color complex. Now titrate against EDTA. What happens? The addition of EDTA forms a stable colorless complex. That complex is termed as MEDTA complex. Addition of EDTA leads to the formation of MEDTA complex. So the intensity of wine red color is slowly reduced. You can see the intensity from initial and now. After complete complex formation, further addition of EDTA changes the color. Now the color is changed to steel blue in color. So this indicates the endpoints. Now we have to note down the endpoints. Please. So this is colorless solution. So we have to note down the lower meniscus. Here it is 19 ml. See the standard hot water. This is the tabular column for this. Volume of standard hot water which we have taken in the conical flask, that is 20 ml we have pipetted down, and then the initial burette reading which is noted as here 0 ml, and final reading just now we have noted it is 19 ml. Okay, now we have to repeat the titration. In the second titration also, if we are getting 19 ml, then it is concordant. Suppose if you are not getting 19 ml, it is 9. Suppose we are getting, then again we have to repeat the titration. If the third titration result is 19.1, then we have to note down 19.1 is the concordant value. Similarly, we have to carry out the second titration, that is estimation of total hardness. Here the titration should be sample hot water versus EDTA solution. So volume of sample hot water, here it is 20 ml. Burette reading, that is EDTA, it is 0 ml initially, and we have to note down the titer value. Roughly I am writing here 9.3. If the second titration also, if we are getting 9.3, then it is concordant. Then the volume of EDTA consumed for this titration is 9.3 ml. As we know that temporary hardness is mainly due to the presence of bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. In order to remove the temporary hardness from the sample water, we boil the sample water. So what happened? By boiling the water, the bicarbonate of calcium and magnesium will be converted into carbonates, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, which will be easily filtered off. Now the solution is totally free from temporary hardness. So that we are using boiled water, sample water, to determine the permanent hardness of the given sample. So here we have pipetted out 20 ml of boiled water and then add 5 ml of ammoniacal buffer and then add indicator, it turns into wine red color. So the burette is nothing but EDTA solution. So initial is 0 ml and we have to find out the final reading, that is roughly I am writing here 5.2 ml. Suppose if the second titration also, if you are getting 5.2, then it is concordant. The concordant value should be written here, 5.2 ml. Now let us see the calculation part. This is for the first standardization of EDTA. So we have pipetted out 20 ml of standard hot water. Okay. So 1 ml of standard hot water contains 1 milligram of calcium carbonate. Therefore, 20 ml of standard hot water contains 20 milligram of calcium carbonate. For this, the titer value here it is 19.1 ml. It is noted as V1. Noted as V1 ml of EDTA. So V1 ml of EDTA is required to 20 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalent. So that 1 ml of EDTA will be 20 by V1 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalent. Now let us see the calculation of total hardness. So here the titer value is noted as V2 ml of EDTA. From the previous calculation, we know V1 ml of EDTA is equivalent to how much equivalent of calcium carbonate. So V1 ml of EDTA is equal to, we know, now V2 ml. So V2 ml means it is nothing but V2 into 1 ml of EDTA. We know 1 ml of EDTA in the previous calculation. So V2 ml of EDTA is nothing but V2 into 20 by V1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So this is for 20 ml. Now the hardness should be always expressed in terms of ppm, that is milligram per liter. So conversion it into liter, 1000 ml. So 20 ml we know V2 by V1. 20 into V2 by V1. For 1000 ml means after simplification we are getting V2 by V1 into 1000 milligram of calcium carbonate. So from this we can calculate the total hardness. Similarly, we can carry out the third titration, that is estimation of permanent hardness. Here the titer value is noted as V3 ml of EDTA. So in the first, we know 1 ml of PDTA. So V3 ml of PDTA is nothing but V3 into 1 ml of PDTA and then V3 into 20 by V1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So this is the result for 20 ml of boiled water. We need 1000 ml. So this value into 1000 divided by 20. So we are getting V3 into V1. Sorry, V3 by V1 into 1000 milligram of calcium carbonate. So from this titer value, we can calculate the permanent hardness. So from the table 2, we are getting total hardness. From the table 3, we are getting permanent hardness. So total hardness is nothing but temporary hardness plus permanent hardness. So from this, we can easily calculate the temporary hardness of the given sample. That is nothing but total hardness minus permanent hardness. So finally, we have to write the result. The total hardness of the sample water, the permanent hardness of the sample water, the temporary hardness of the sample water, all the results should be expressed in
Students, now I share the calculation part. Please stay on the class. Please tell them, student, for only 65 students join. Once I took that attendance, marking 2 hours absent, please I texted the chat box. CR, please take your responsibilities.
estimation of hardness by EDTA method. So hardness, as we are all know, hardness is mainly due to the presence of calcium and magnesium salt. Water which does not form readily later in soap, then it is said to be hard water. Hard water cannot be used for industrial applications such as boiler and pipes due to the corrosion behavior. So based on the type of dissolved salts like calcium and magnesium, hardness can be classified into temporary hardness and permanent hardness. Temporary hardness is mainly due to the presence of bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. Bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. It can be easily removed by boiling. So just boil the water. So the salts present in the water can be easily precipitated as CaCO3 H2O plus CO2. So temporary hardness can be easily removed by boiling. It is mainly due to the presence of bicarbonate of calcium and magnesium. Permanent hardness. It is mainly due to the presence of chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium. So CaCl2, CaSO4 so NgCl2, NgSO4 yes. So this permanent hardness cannot be removed by boiling. However, it can be removed by other processes like soda-like process and clearing process. So the hardness can be estimated by different methods such as galvanic analysis, complexometric titration, and atomic absorption technique. Okay, among this method, the EDTA method is the most inexpensive way to detect hardness. So EDTA is nothing but ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. Ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. CH2COH. 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 ethylene, diamine, tetraacetic acid. Okay, so as it is that EDTA cannot be used for titration, since it is insoluble in water, sodium salt of EDTA is used for the titration. Now let us see the principle. So definition, right? Now let us see the principle. There are two steps involved in the principle behind this estimation of hardness. So step 1, hardness causing substances like calcium and magnesium can be represented as M. Forms an unstable violet color complex. I am repeating. Hardness causing substances like calcium and magnesium is represented as M, forming an unstable violet color complex when reacts with iriochrome black tea. So iriochrome black tea in presence of a buffer, ammonia buffer. So pH should be maintained at 9 to 10. So this is step 1. And the step 2. This solution MPP is titrated against EDTA. Forms a stable complex. That is MEDTA. MEDTA forms a stable complex. Stable complex, and it releases EDTA. So this EDTA at pH 9 to 10 exhibits blue color, steel blue color. So this is the endpoint for this hardness experiment. So 102 steel blue is the endpoint. And repeating the principle, the first step, the metal ions present in the water sample, that is calcium, Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus, forms an unstable violet color complex when treated with iriochrome black tea in presence of ammonia buffer at pH 9 to 10. So it forms an unstable violet color complex. So the addition of EDTA, when it is titrated against EDTA, what happens? The uncomplex metal ions, that is free metal ions. So the free metal ions make makes a stable complex, MEDTA complex. So what happens? So the free metal ions form EDTA, react EDTA to form a stable complex. This stable complex is colorless. When all the free metal ions are completely complexed with EDTA, then further addition of EDTA removes EDTA from this complex. So EDTA is set free now. So that EDTA at the pH 9 to 10, EDTA at the pH 9 to 10 displays steel blue in color. So for hardness estimation, we are getting the color changes violet to steel blue. Okay, now let us see the procedure. So procedure is very simple. So first we have to pipette out. So for the determination of in order to determine the total hardness, separative hardness, and permanent hardness, we have to conduct 3 different sets of titrations. Okay. So one, standardization of EDTA, titration 2, estimation of total hardness, titration 3, determination of bulk hardness. Okay. So for all the 3 sets of titration, the periodic solution is same, that is EDTA. For all the 3 titrations, the periodic solution is same, EDTA. And the reagents are also same, ammonia buffer and iriochrome black tea indicators. Okay. And the pipette solution. So for the standardization of EDTA, we have to measure, we have to prepare that calcium carbonate solution, because the hardness is always expressed in terms of calcium carbonate equivalent. Okay, so that here pipette solution is calcium carbonate solution. Here for total hardness, the preferred solution is sample water, that is test solution. Here for permanent hardness, the preferred solution is boiled water. Why boiled water? Because it's a permanent hardness. Permanent hardness means the sample should not contain any temporary hardness. So that how can you remove the temporary hardness? As you know, if you boil the water, automatically the bicarbonate will be precipitated as calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is easily precipitated, so we can remove the calcium carbonate by the way of filtration. So now the solution is free from temporary hardness. So that boiling water is used for permanent hardness measurement. Okay. Now, how to perform the titration? Very simple. First, you have to take a clean body of gas. We put out 20 ml of the sample. Now I am explaining only the determination of total hardness. So all the three set of titrations, the same procedure should be followed. So first, we put out 20 ml of the sample water and add 5 ml of ammonia sulfur and add 2 to 3 drops of electromagnetic indicator. So after adding electromagnetic indicator, immediately the solution turns into violet color. Immediately it turns into violet color because of the formation of the formulas. Right. Now, titrate this solution against EDTA. What happens? All the metal ions make a stable complex with EDTA. Okay. So the end point will be violet to steel 2. So after getting the steel 2, you should measure the titer value. Repeat the experiment up to getting concordant value. So what is the concordant value? Adjacent value should be same. So the adjacent titer value should be same. That is concordant value. So we have to measure the concordant value, and then the same procedure is carried out for all the three sets of titration. Then we have to do the calculation. So calculation is very simple. First, here standardization of EDTA. So how to prepare the calcium carbonate solution? 1 gram. So we are taking 1 gram of calcium carbonate in 1 liter of water. So I am writing reversely. So 1000 ml of water. 1000 ml of water in 1000 water contains 1000 milligram of calcium carbonate. Same sentence. 1000 ml of water contains 1000 milligram of calcium carbonate. Okay. So how much quantity have we put around? 20 ml. So now 20 ml of, this is hot water. 20 ml of standard hot water. 20 ml of standard hot water is equal to 20 milligram of calcium carbonate. So after performing the titration, you are getting the titer value. So the titer value is represented as B1 ml. The titer value is represented as B1 ml of EDTA. B1 ml of EDTA. So B1 ml of EDTA. B1 ml of EDTA is equal to how much quantity? 20 milligram of calcium carbonate. So B1 titer value is corresponded to 20 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalent. Therefore, 1 ml of EDTA is equal to 20 by B1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So now the EDTA is standardized. That means we know 1 ml of EDTA is required to get the titer value of 20 by B1 milligram of calcium carbonate. Okay. Now let us see the total hardness calculation. So here, what is the titer value of getting? B2 ml. B2 ml of EDTA. So B2 ml of EDTA means 20 ml of sample water, 20 ml of sample water is equal to V2 ml of EDTA. V2 ml of EDTA. So I am writing V2 into 1 ml of EDTA. V2 into 1 ml of EDTA. We already know 1 ml of EDTA is equal to 25 milligram of calcium carbonate. So apply this value here. V2 into 20 by V1. 20 by V1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So this value corresponds to 20 ml of sample water. Now we have to calculate 1000 ml of sample water. So 1000 ml of sample water means 1000 into E2 by E1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So we know 20 ml value. From this we can easily calculate 1000 ml of sample water. So it is equal to 1000 into E2 by E1 milligram of calcium carbonate. So this value represents the total hardness. Now, boiling water titration. Same. So type value is represented as D3 ml of EDTA. Okay. So 20 ml of boiled water. 20 ml of boiled water is equal to D3 ml of EDTA. Or we can write D3 into 1 ml of EDTA. 1 ml of EDTA. So 1 ml of EDTA already we know the value. 20 milligram of calcium carbonate. So D3 into 20 by E1 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalent. So this value corresponds to 20 ml. So from this we can easily calculate 1000 ml. Why 1000 ml? Always the hardness should be expressed in terms of ppm or milligram per liter. So 1000 into V3 by V1 milligram of calcium carbonate equivalent. So from this we can easily calculate the permanent hardness. From this we can get the total hardness. So we know total hardness and we know permanent hardness. Then we get the temporary hardness. So total hardness is equal to temporary hardness plus permanent hardness. Therefore, temporary hardness is equal to total hardness minus permanent hardness. So very directly we can get the total hardness from this equation, and directly we can get the permanent hardness by using boiling water equation. So from these two values we can easily calculate the temporary hardness.
Okay, students, the calculation part, anything else for any doubt for harness experiment? I thought is everyone is clear to understand for this experiment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. What about remaining 67? Remaining 6 student absent. Okay, I took here. Shashank is not there. Later. Okay, if any other experiment if you want to play? Any other experiment if you want to play? Okay, I will check it. Now, polymer already explained. This experiment, first experiment, determinations of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide experiment.
Sir, sixth experiment, sir, once.
Molecular weight of polymer.
That Fe1. Sir, that Fe1. Sir, that's fourth, I think.
Potentiometry
For-
titration. Potentiometry, right? Sir, please tell me potentiometry or
Yes,
name
sir.
of the yeah. You tell me the name of the experiment because order of experiment also changed.
Potentiometric titration.
Yeah. Say potentiometry titration. Now I will play 1 second. Student, please check after I play this video. Audio is clear or once it's not clear means I remove my headset, okay?
Demonstration for potentiometric titration. The aim of the experiment is to determine the
Audio is clear. Hello, anyone please?
ferrous ammonium sulfate solution.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Reagents required for
Okay,
this
okay.
experiment are 0.1 normal potassium dichromate solution, dilute H2SO4 solution, and distilled water. The apparatus required for this experiment are digital potentiometer and a working electrode or an indicator electrode which changes its potential with change in the concentration of ions in the solution. In this case, it is a platinum electrode. As we cannot determine the potential of a single electrode, it has to be always coupled with another electrode whose potential is fixed, and therefore it is called as a reference electrode. In this case, it is a standard calomel electrode. In this experiment, we take a fixed volume of given FAS solution in the beaker and titrate it versus potassium dichromate of known normality. When we add potassium dichromate solution from the burette to the FAS solution, the Fe2 plus ions present in the solution react with the dichromate ions and they are oxidized to Fe3 plus ions. At the same time, chromium 6 plus ions coming from the burette solution are converted into chromium 3 plus ions. So in this case, the ferrous ammonium sulfate solution acts as a reducing agent while potassium dichromate solution acts as an oxidizing agent. So therefore, it is a redox titration. As we determine the end point of the titration by measurement of EMF or potential of the solution, it is also called as potentiometric titration. So therefore, overall it is potentiometric redox titration. Okay. So going for the experiment, the first step is to make up the given solution to a fixed volume. So this ammonium sulfate solution will make up to a fixed volume using a standard volumetric flask of 100 ml. So for this we transfer the whole solution into the standard flask and dilute the solution up to the mark using distilled water. Here I have already made the solution for the experiment and I have taken 10 ml of this diluted solution using 10 ml pipette and 10 ml of dilute H2SO4 solution in the beaker. Okay. Now this solution is ready for the titration. I will keep the two electrodes which are initially thoroughly washed with the distilled water into the solution. As the electrodes are not completely immersed, I will add distilled water up to 100 ml mark. Mix the solution well EMF from the potentiometer as 328 millivolt. So for 0 ml of potassium dichromate, the potential is 328 millivolt. So this is the first calculation. Ferrous ammonium sulfate versus potassium dichromate. It is called as pilot titration. The first column is volume of potassium dichromate in ml. The second column is EMF in millivolt, and third column is delta E, that is difference between two consecutive EMF values. So the first reading without adding potassium dichromate is 328 millivolt. Now we'll go on recording the EMF of the solution with the addition of 1 ml potassium dichromate each. I have added 1 ml of potassium dichromate. Mix the solution well. Now the EMF increased to 351 millivolt. 351 millivolt. For 2 ml of potassium dichromate, the potential has increased to 367 millivolt. So you can see that as we go on adding potassium dichromate solution, the potential of solution go on increasing. So I have already recorded the potential as a function of volume of potassium dichromate, and the EMF readings have been recorded here. We can see that initially the potential increases slowly. At certain volume, there is a sudden increase in the EMF value. Now if we plot the EMF versus volume of potassium dichromate, we can see that the nature of the graph is a sigmoidal curve. Initially the potential increases slowly. After certain volume, for example here 7 ml, there is a sudden increase in the EMF, and the EMF increases slowly again. Wherever there is a increase in the EMF, somewhere from 7 ml to 9 ml is the end point of the titration. But since we are doing the addition of 1 ml of potassium dichromate at a time, we can only tell the range of volume where the end point can lie. To find out the exact end point of the titration, we will do the fair titration, but in a small volume range, that is from 7 ml 9. So for this, we will prepare the FS solution again. I have already prepared the FS solution here again. Clean the electrodes thoroughly with the distilled water. Keep them into the solution. Add distilled water up to 100 ml mark. The burette up to 0 mark again. Now, since we know that the end point of the titration lies somewhere between 7 to 9 ml, for the fair titration, we will directly add 7 ml of potassium dichromate into FAS solution. Mix it well. And record this EMF as the first reading for the fair titration. For the fair titration for 7 ml, it is 459 millivolt. Here also we will record the EMF of solution, go on adding the potential. E is difference between two consecutive EMF value, and delta V is the difference between two consecutive volumes, so that is 0.2 ml. So the last column, delta E by delta V, is the derivative of the EMF. Now the second addition will do for 0.2 ml. Now the EMF changes to 478 millivolt. Again we'll do the addition of 0.2 ml. Now the EMF increased to 532 millivolt. So we can see the similar trend is observed when we go on adding potassium dichromate. Initially the potential increases slowly. After certain volume there will be sudden increase. Again the potential will increase slowly. You can also observe that the color of the solution has changed to green. This is because of chromium 3+ ions formed in the solution. The EMF values from 7 ml to 10 ml. You can see that the potential, there is a sudden increase in the potential at around 8.2 ml. After calculating delta E by delta V value, when we plot delta E by delta V versus volume of potassium dichromate, we can see the nature of graph is like this. From the highest value, when we draw a perpendicular on x-axis, this is a volume of potassium dichromate which is required to convert all Fe2+ ions in the FAS solution to Fe3+ ions. So this is the end point of the titration. Now I explain the calculation part. We can calculate the normality of FAS using a simple formula N1V1 equal to N2V2, where V1 is the volume of FAS solution that we have taken, it is 10 ml in this case. The volume of potassium dichromate that we obtained from the graph, it is a V2 ml. The normality of potassium dichromate is already known, it is 0.1 normal. So therefore, from N1V1 equal to N2V2, the normality of FAS is V2N2 divided by V1. So the amount of Fe2+ ions can be calculated from this value as equivalent weight of Fe2+ ions multiplied by normality of Fe2+ ions obtained from here, and the amount of Fe2+ ions in 100 ml can be calculated by dividing this number by 10. The obtained value will be the amount of Fe2+ ions in grams.
Okay, students, for this experiment, Shashank Sharma, are you there? Shashank? Parth 191. Parth Anil
Present, sir.
Kumar. You're present. Okay, because you are. What about the starting? Your name is connecting here, but I checked for portal. Your name is not there.
Sir, I've been here the whole time, sir.
No, you there whole time. But the first letter, I'm asking about the first letter. Your simple. I thought R, right?
Yeah, no, that's my surname, sir.
Yeah. So P. Okay.
Yeah.
That is I'm Rati Parth Anil Kumar, right? So
Yeah.
R, I checked here. Your name is not there. Maybe P. Okay. Parth. Okay. What about sir? Remaining 30 minutes. If any other experiment? I play this experiment, sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide experiment.
is Dr. Abhirami, Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry. Today I'm going to explain the experiment, determination of the amount of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide in a mixture by titration. The important highlight of my presentation would be to start with an introduction, after which aim of the experiment, followed by principle, apparatus required, reagents required for this experiment, and then simple procedure for 2 titrations. You have for this experiment 2 titration, and then virtual demo for each titration. Finally, the calculation steps and result. What are acid-base titrations? Acid-base titration is a quantitative analysis of acids and bases of unknown concentration when neutralized by acid or base of known concentration. The reaction progress can be monitored by indicators if it is an electrical experiment by making use of electrodes. What is an equivalence point? It is a point at which the titrant has exactly neutralized the acid or base in the unknown analyte. If volume and concentration of the titrant at the endpoint is known, then concentration of a base or acid in the unknown solution can be calculated. What is the importance of acid-base reactions? It is going to make use of neutralization reaction. As we all know, it is reaction between acid and base forming salt and water, which gives a knowledge of how acid and base will react if their formulas are known. And what are the indicators that we are going to make use in this titrations are named? They are called as acid-base indicators. It is weak organic acids or bases having different colors for their dissociated or undissociated forms. Example, phenolphthalein changes color in a pH range between 8.3 to 9.8. It will appear pink in basic solution and clear in acidic. Here I have listed out 2 indicators that you are going to see in this experiment. One is methyl orange, another one phenolphthalein. Methyl orange, as you all know, in the acidic medium it is orange, reddish orange color. In basic medium it is yellow color. The pH range is 3.1 to 4.6. The phenolphthalein indicator in acidic medium is colorless, whereas in the basic medium it is pink. pH range is 8 to 9.8. The aim of the experiment is to determine the amount of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide in a mixture by titration. Apparatus and reagents required for this experiment has been given in this slide. 50 ml burette, conical flask, standard measuring flask of 100 ml capacity, 20 ml pipette. Reagents used are HCl solution, 0.05 N normality of sodium carbonate, unknown mixture containing sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide, methyl orange and phenolphthalein indicators. What is the principle of this experiment? When carbonate solution is titrated against hydrochloric acid, there are 2 distinct regions of sharp pH change. The first corresponds to the formation of carbonate portion and the second due to complete neutralization at pH range 4 to 6. Whereas in a mixture, when both sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide are present, and when this is being titrated against hydrochloric acid, the phenolphthalein endpoint corresponds to complete neutralization of hydroxyl portion and half neutralization of the carbonate portion. Whereas the methyl orange endpoint corresponds to total alkali content present in the mixture. The reactions have been shown over here as equations. As you all know, it is a very simple acid-base equation. Carbonate portion reacting with H plus of the acidic portion forming bicarbonate ions. Bicarbonate ions with H forming H2CO3, which then dissociates to give H2O and carbon dioxide. Hydroxyl portion reacting with H plus forming water. Now we are moving to the simple procedure of this experiment. Titration 1, standardization of hydrochloric acid. Burette solution, hydrochloric acid. Pipette solution, 20 ml of 0.05 N solution of sodium carbonate. Indicator that has been used is 2 to 3 drops of methyl orange. End point, yellow to orange color. Volume of the titrant is XML. Titration 2, estimation of mixture of bases. Burette solution hydrochloric acid. Pipette solution 20 ml of unknown solution, which is pipetted out from made up solution in 100 ml standard measuring flask. Indicators used 2 to 3 drops of phenolphthalein followed by 2 to 3 drops of methyl orange. Endpoint, pink to colorless for phenolphthalein, yellow to orange for methyl orange. Volume of titrant A and B ml for phenolphthalein and methyl orange indicators respectively. Now we are going to see tabulation and calculation steps for both the titrations. Tabulation for titration 1, standardization of HCl acid. The first column, volume of pipette solution taken 20 ml. The second column corresponds to burette reading, initial and final reading. Final reading is taken to be XML. Concordant value, as we all know, 2 consecutive readings, even in decimal it should not vary. Then that has to be tabulated under that column, concordant value column. Finally, what is the indicator used for this titration 1? That has to be written in the last column, that is methyl orange. Calculation steps for the first titration. It is volume of standard sodium carbonate is 20 ml. Normality of sodium carbonate N1 is 0.05 N. Volume of HCl, that is the titer value XML. Normality of HCl N2, that is what we are going to calculate. Using normality equation, N2 is equal to V1 N1 by V2. That is 20 into 0.05 by X. That gives you the normality. Tabulation for titration 2, estimation of mixture of bases. The first column is volume of the pipette solution. It has been pipetted out. It is 20 ml. The next column is burette reading. 1 stands for phenolphthalein indicator endpoint. It has been taken as A. Another column you have MO, that is nothing but methyl orange. Methyl orange indicator endpoint is B. The concordant value is a next column where we have to arrive at A and B respectively for phenolphthalein and methyl orange. The last column is the indicators that is being used. This slide, we are going to see the calculation steps for titration 2. There are 2 sets of calculations we have to do under titration 2, one for sodium carbonate, another one for sodium hydroxide. First for sodium carbonate. Volume of acid consumed for carbonate portion is 2 cml. Normality of HCl is taken from first titration. Volume of pipette solution is 20 ml. Normality of the mixture, that is for carbonate, is calculated using normality equation V1 N1 by V2. That is 2C into normality of HCl by 20 gives the normality of the carbonate portion. In this, we should know what is C and why we are multiplying with 2. Phenolphthalein endpoint A corresponds to neutralization of both carbonate portion, that is half of carbonate portion, and full of hydroxyl portion. under estimation of sodium carbonate, we can rule out the hydroxyl portion. Hence, we have to subtract A from the final titer value B in order to get C that corresponds only to carbonate portion, that too a part of carbonate portion. We are multiplying by 2 because this carbonate portion is getting neutralized by both the indicators phenolphthalein and methyl. To continue with, the amount of sodium carbonate in the whole is normality that we have calculated in the earlier step for the carbonate portion into its equivalent mass, that is 53, divided by 10 gives the amount of carbonate portion in grams per liter. Next, it is for estimation of sodium hydroxide. Volume of acid consumed for hydroxyl portion is A minus C. A we know already, it is the acid portion consumed for both hydroxyl and carbonate, and C is only for carbonate portion. So when we subtract C from A, we will get only for hydroxyl portion. Normality of HCl, that is taken from first titration. Volume of pipette solution is 20 ml. Normality of the mixture, that is for hydroxyl portion, is once again calculated using normality equation V1N1 by V2. That is A minus C into normality of HCl by 20 gives the normality for hydroxyl portion. To continue with, the amount of sodium hydroxide present in the whole of the given solution is normality of hydroxyl portion that we calculated in the earlier step into its equivalent mass, that is 40, divided by 10 gives the amount of hydroxyl portion in grams per liter. Finally, results have to be written, one for sodium carbonate, another one for sodium hydroxide in grams per liter. Thank you.
Good morning, students. Welcome you all to the demo session for the experiment estimation of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide in a mixture by titration. As explained in PowerPoint presentation, there are two sets of titrations involved in this experiment. First titration is standardization of hydrochloric acid. Reagents required for this titration are burette solution, hydrochloric acid, pipette solution 0.0 0.05 N of sodium carbonate. Indicator used is methyl orange. Glass vase taken up 50 ml capacity burette, 20 ml capacity pipette, conical funnel and wash bottle filled with distilled water. To begin with, Wash all gas phase thoroughly and then with distilled water. Dry it for a few minutes in hot air oven. Rinse the burette and pet with little amount of respective reagents. Pour into the beaker. Fill the burette with hydrochloric acid using a funnel up to the 0th level. Ensure that even the nozzle end of the burette is filled without air gas. As we all aware of that, for transparent solution, irrespective of it, color, we have to see the lower minuscule for noting down the reading. This is for pipette solution 2. Pipette out 20 ml of 0.05 normality of sodium carbonate into a pink conical flask. Then add 2 to 3 drops of methyl orange. It will turn yellow color in basic medium. Now start titrating against hydrochloric acid. Initially, be cautious while adding burette solution. Add in drops, and for each addition of burette solution, conical flask should be shaken well. Nearing the equivalence point, we can observe the color change from the middle of the conical flask solution. At the equivalence point, a sharp and permanent change from yellow to reddish orange color occurs. The color should be permanent. Shake well and fix that. Now, take out the rest from the burette tank and note down the date by keeping the burette straight to your eyes. Repeat this experiment to get the concordant value. Note the title value as x ml in the tabulation. Calculate normality of HCl using the normality equation given in the calculation steps for first titration. This is also explained in PowerPoint presentation. We shall proceed now for titration 2. Estimation of sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide in a mixture. Fill the burette with hydrochloric acid. Once again check the nozzle is filled and the zero level also should be checked. You will be provided with 100 ml standard measuring flask. A numbered small bottle containing the test solution. The test solution must be transferred to 100 standard measuring flask through thoroughly washed funnel using a glass rod. With little amount of distilled water and pour the washes into the standard measuring flask. Ensure that the liquid level in the standard measuring flask should not pass the mark. Now close the standard measuring flask with the lid and shake it at least for 2 to 3 minutes in order to get uniform distribution of ions. After that, tip it out. 20 ml of mixture from standard into a clean now add first indicator phenolphthalein 2 to 3 drops to the conical flask solution. It will become pink color. Titrate this against hydrochloric acid taken in the burette. Students, you should arrive colorless. That is the first endpoint. Permanent, but it should be colorless. Pink color should not appear again. Now take out burette and see for the title value. Let it be 8 ml. Don't off the conical flask solution. Do not refill the burette. To the solution, add second indicator, 2 to 3 drops. You can see it turns yellow color. Continue the titration from 8 ml till the end point. Reddish orange is arrived. You can observe from the middle of the conical flask solution, slowly reddish orange color is getting appeared. Yes, the end point is arrived. Note the titer value. Let it be capital B ml. Phenolphthalein endpoint capital A corresponds to neutralization of full of hydroxyl ions and half of carbonate portion by the acid. Whereas methyl orange endpoint capital B corresponds to total alkalinity. Calculations must be carried out separately for sodium carbonate and sodium hydroxide. Use the values A and B as explained in the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Hello students. So afternoon class, please connect 110, 110 or 120. 1 second, I will. Yeah, 120. Okay, thank you for joining class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Yes, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Please, the first register number, first 1 to 20 student prepared for seminar. Please kindly share your file and explain. Okay. Yeah.